What's up, guys? I'm Brian Kelly with Kelly Family Fitness, and today we're going to talk about pull-ups. Now, pull-up's a lot different than other exercises. It is a closed chain motion. In other words, the exercising segment is fixed. So you have to grab a fixed bar and pull yourself up to it. A lot of people want to assume that if they do heavy lat pull downs, they're going to get stronger at the pull-up. Or if they do a bunch of rowing motions and just strengthen their lats, they're going to get better at the pull-up. Now, let me put it in better context for you. Do you think that anybody that can do 100 push-ups in a row can bench 300? I don't think so. Do you think that the guys doing 600 pounds on a leg press for 10 reps can automatically squat 400? No, it doesn't work like that. They're two totally different pathways that the body learns. And likewise, the best way to learn closed chain exercise is through practicing closed chain exercise. Now, am I saying you need to give up all the regular exercises you've been doing and just start doing closed chain exercise? No, not at all. But I am going to say that if you want to get better at pull-ups, you should practice certain exercises that will help your body do more pull-ups. Generally speaking, a pull-up is a pronated grip. And this grip would generally be about shoulder width. It could be done closer or wider. Just understand that as you get in closer, it's probably going to be a little bit more bicep. As you get out wider, it becomes a little bit more shoulder. It could also be done supinated grip, and this would be considered chin up. Now, the standard overhand grip probably is going to be the most desirable for most people, though you could also change the position of your body. In my opinion, there are two forms of pull-ups, and you see both. And I'm going to have people that argue with this point, but they both work well. And that is, you could be arched while you're doing your pull-up, which is going to include a lot more of your upper back. So you're going to draw in a lot more of that rhomboid and that lower and mid trap and a little bit more just scapular movement. If I go to more of a hollow position where I'm kind of tilting my hips back behind me, and more of a straight body line as I come up through that motion, that hollow position is going to directly strengthen more my lat. So many things are easier if you just do them to learn them. Unfortunately for the pull-up, a lot of people don't have the natural strength or ability to just jump up and grab a bar and start doing reps. That's where the band-assisted pull-up comes in. And what I have here is a 1 3/4 inch wide jump stretch style band. You can get these on Amazon for about 25 bucks. This is a good starting point for a lot of people. I would say more than half of my clients start with this much assistance. All you got to do, box under a pull-up bar, take your band, drop it over the top of the pull-up bar. Through one end, you're going to lace the other side of the band through. Snug it up. You're going to start with one foot in the band. So what you want to do is pull down on it a little bit and then just stomp your foot down to the box. You want your grip to be equidistant on each side of this knot, okay? So you wouldn't want to be here and here. You want to be about shoulder width and about equidistant from the knot. With one foot off the box, you're going to cross the other foot in front and slowly allow the band to take on the weight of your body. Look up toward the direction you want to pull to. think about pulling your elbows directly toward your rib cage. Keep going till you get above the bar, and then all the way back down with control. Do the desired number of reps, which I'd recommend somewhere between 5 and 10 when you're first learning. Try to watch that at the top of this motion, you don't round your shoulders up and forward. That's really hard on you. When you're done, step back with the free foot, come up slow, and back out of the band. If one band isn't enough help, you could just add a second band. Simply tie it the same way you did the first and right beside the first band, and then put the spotted foot into both bands. If you wanted to make this motion a little bit more difficult, in other words, you wanted to take away a little bit of the assistance, another good banded option is just going one knee in the band. I usually start out right at the front of the knee and just barely put it in the band. Equidistant grip, eyes up. And now that the band is slightly shorter, you're not going to get as much assistance at the bottom. Isometrics can be a great way to build strength and teach position on the chin up or the pull up. When you're doing them, you want to focus on getting your chin up above the bar, but then we also want to teach the shoulders to be depressed and retracted at the same time at the top motion, rather than teaching your body to finish with those shoulders up. That's bad position. You're going to end up hurting yourself in the long run. When you're doing them, you can jump up into them. You could do a band assisted if you needed to. But the goal is to get up above the bar, tight core, and hold for 5 to 15 seconds. Now, I find that even after doing pull-ups for years, these things are still challenging. But I think they're a very important part to teaching the pull-up. Partial pull-ups are a great way to strengthen the muscles that initiate the pull-up, including the lower and mid-trap. Start out hanging passively under a bar, and think about bringing your head up toward that bar without using your elbows. Now, studies have shown great core activation while performing pull-ups. I decided to pick the bodyweight pullover because this is not only going to affect your core, but it's also going to affect your lats as well. It's performed similar to how you would do a dumbbell pullover. So whether you were laying across a bench or, like I prefer them, on the floor, typically you would take a dumbbell, lower it behind your head, and then as you pull your elbows and rotate your shoulders toward your sternum, you get this lat activation, this long head of the tricep, and a decent amount of core. On the bodyweight pullover, I'm basically going to pivot my body up toward the fixed bar, and then as I lower my body away from my hands, I get that eccentric version of the pullover. So, got an ab mat here. This will kind of buffer you if you don't want too much compression on your neck. It's a good idea to have a pad. 2 arms fixed, right behind the head. You're going to rotate knees up off the ground and shoulders back, and then lower as slowly as you can. And even that short of a motion is very, very effective. If you wanted to make it harder, you could straighten one leg or both and turn it into more of a dragon flag type exercise. But both are awesome core and lat activators. I would recommend starting out low rep on these and worrying about how much control, how slow the tempo is to try to increase the activation and strength in that area. The Australian row, or what I would consider the horizontal pull-up, is a wonderful accessory or gateway toward learning how to do the pull-up. It starts out with a bar at waist height. Most anybody can do this exercise. I'll show you a couple scaling options. You start out on your back with a shoulder width grip. Pull bottom of chest to the bar and back down with control. You could also, if you're not strong enough in the beginning, bend your knees. You could also even bridge into these. The seated pull-up can make good accessory work or even a nice intermediate step between the banded pull-up and the full body weight pull-up. Sets up similar to the horizontal pull-up, but this time I want the bar at a height in the rack where I can just barely reach it from seated. This is going to allow me to get to full extension of my elbow at the bottom of the rep. We want to try hard to keep our upper body vertical. In other words, you don't want to lean back on this. That gets too close to the horizontal pulling motion. So from vertical, pulling elbows toward the rib cage, eyes forward, above the bar, back down with control. The TRX can be another great option to doing the horizontal pull-up. It is still a closed chain exercise because once I get it to the desired length and the right height, it's a fixed surface. So I put my body at a slight incline, pull chest up between the hands, pinch the shoulders, and then return back slowly to straight elbows. Up and squeeze, back down to straight elbows. I can walk it forward to make it heavier. I can walk it backwards to make it lighter, but whatever I do, I don't want to slack the band. I don't want to lose that tension. I want to keep that tension constant throughout the motion, and I want to run my elbows and shoulders through a full range of motion where I'm coming up and retracting my shoulders. I'm finishing with straight elbows and protracting my shoulders back out. The TRX can be really useful for building up biceps for the pull-up as well. Again, another example of a closed chain exercise in that the handles are going to be fixed once I get to the right height. I'm going to go underhand grip. These are unistraps, so you just kind of have to pull the handles to get them even. Once they're even, you walk your body back a little bit. These, you won't be able to go back as far as you do for the horizontal pull-ups. They're much heavier. They're much harder to do. I'm going to try to aim for pulling my knuckles above my forehead and then back down slow. Keeping my elbows high, making my biceps the primary mover here. And again, I'm not allowing this band to slack at the top. I want to keep that constant tension on. Just a word of warning. Don't go from doing 0 pull-ups a week to trying to do pull-ups every day. It's going to be the quickest way to a shoulder injury. It's best to keep this stuff at maybe once or twice a week and gradually build in frequency and volume and intensity. Likewise, I want you to consider that if you have rounded shoulders, and most of you do, you should really consider stretching your pecs and strengthening your rotator cuff before you get into these. Simple external rotations of your shoulder are really going to be beneficial for stabilizing that joint as you move through this range of motion. Here's a sample program for you to try. 25 to 40 total reps. Now this assumes that you have a band that will allow you to get at least 5 good reps. If you can't, you need a heavier band or a second band. But the intensity is a little too high if you're only getting 2, 3, 4 reps. You're just going to get yourself hurt. And we want not only good clean reps, but we want perfect practice to learn this motion. Now if you can get more than 10, I want you to use less assistance. So either a thinner band or go to the knee support band assisted pull-up. From there we go to the isometric. So we're just going to hold the position at the top. Can be banded. You could also do the jumping pull-up to get up into this. I want you to do 3 sets holding for 5 to 15 seconds. From there to the partial pull-up. These can be banded as well, though I'd love for you to try them body weight. 3 sets times 4 to 8 reps. From there we go to the body weight pullover. This is going to kind of work on our core as well as continuing to strengthen our lats. 3 sets times 4 to 8. Keep in mind on that pullover, you can do it bent knee to make it easier, or you can stretch those legs out and make that lever arm longer to make it harder. You could also increase the tempo, the duration, the length of time it takes to get from top to bottom. From there, I want you to go to horizontal pull-ups. And I want you to do 3 good sets to failure. Keep in mind, we want that perfect form. We want that bar to touch us right at the bottom of our sternum, right about where a bench press bar would touch us. We want to make sure that each rep finishes with a good shoulder blade squeeze as well. And I'm fine with the bridging into it. You can go straight legs. You can also elevate your feet up on a bench to make it heavier. From there, we're going to do the biceps. 3 sets times 6 to 10 reps. Keep in mind you can scale that one based on how tall you are. So if you are set at a 45-degree angle and that is just too easy, all you got to do is walk your feet a little bit closer to the wall, and as you get closer to the ground, that's going to get heavier. Likewise, if you walk your feet back not even 6 inches, it's going to get a lot lighter. Just by changing that angle, you can change the resistance on that. So here's a routine you could try. I would recommend frequency of 1 to 2 times per week, and keep in mind that if you need to change any of these as you get better, it's all scalable. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two and you enjoyed the video. Consider giving it a like or subscribing to our channel. Leave any comments below. You know I'll get back to you. Thank you.